Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make NBA DFS content, sportsbook, prize picks, anything you can think of, I make content for. All these videos, they get posted to this subreddit right here. You can find my posts. I make updates with all the news that comes out. What a wild slate today. You can ask me questions leading up to lock about the slate. Anything you need, I will have this link down below. But yeah, crazy slate today. And if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter. And I do post sportsbook plays on Twitter. If you want sportsbook plays, I usually have a couple every single night for you guys. We went 2-1 on the ones I posted on Twitter. And then in my Discord, I give you guys player pools, cores, private videos, flag plants and GPPs, whole bunch of stuff, sportsbooks, prize picks. We're looking to have a great sportsbook day today as well. Prize picks not so much, but yeah, I will have that linked down below as well. As far as recap tonight goes, we'll see if I get into the cash. I will show you guys in the next video. We'll see. So I had Jokic in one lineup. I had Luka in one lineup. I had Karl Anthony Towns in one lineup, but I didn't have Cat with Jokic, unfortunately, or that would have been Nuke. And then I played LeBron, of course. I played Austin Reeves. I played Najee Marshall. So it's going to be close if I at least min cash one of those lineups. Unfortunately, I believe I have Kobe White in my Jokic lineup, so I didn't get the right combos right. But hopefully, Karl Anthony Towns was enough to get my other lineup into the cash. Where I had Cat in that lineup, Jackson Hayes, LeBron, Austin Reeves, Najee Marshall, Ayo Dosunmu. I forget who the last ones were. Who were the last ones? LeBron, Cat. I had another spend up in there. I feel like because that money doesn't. Oh, Peyton Watson. Don't know who the last player is, but hopefully that lineup gets in. I'll just recap it then in the next video. You guys know I don't sweat my lineup, so yeah, we'll recap it next. And without further ado, we have a 3-game slate to take a look at here. The news that we have or don't have, we can go over this since it's only a 3-game slate. Minnesota, we're waiting on nothing. Chicago, Levine was out today. He went through shoot around. I was a little bit surprised he sat. We'll keep an eye on that. Portland, Shaden Sharp could be back, and then Spurs, Jeremy Sochan, Devin Vassell. They're going to remain out. And then Utah, we could have Markkanen and Clarkson back. And then Milwaukee, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo questionable as well. Let's just see if there was anything updated last time I looked. Wild stuff there. D'Lo just didn't care. He got benched. But yeah, only a 3-game slate. We'll go over this in like 5-10 minutes, and then we'll get you guys out of here. All right. Great spot here for the Timberwolves. Chicago are playing so much faster. It's a fantastic spot. No more Alex Caruso, so just a great spot here. And we can go over rotations as well, since it is a 3-game slate. We don't have to, go a little bit too crazy here. So this was their game against the Spurs. They blew out the Hornets last game. This game stayed competitive, so I pulled that one up. All right, Mike Conley, Dante, they're going to split the guard minutes. I probably wouldn't play them both together in the same lineup. They do negatively correlate with each other. Rudy Gobert didn't play well, so they went to a bit more Naz Reid in this game. Rudy didn't even get into foul trouble this game either, which was a bit of an outlier. I think he'll normally play his massive minutes. And then you saw McDaniels, they got pulled a little bit here. Big minutes for the main guys, and then you'll see Naz Reid, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Dante DiVincenzo off of the bench there. So yeah, great spot. I think Anthony Edwards at 9.3K. I know he had a bad game last game in a blowout, but huge ceiling, good defender, can rack up defensive stats, can get you rebounds, can stuff the stat sheet in a great pace-up spot up against the Bulls here. I think, looking at the spend-ups on the slate, I do think he is one of the better spend-ups for me. Now, that's going to depend on, Giannis Antetokounmpo news. We could have Damian Lillard open up as a phenomenal spend-up. Levine, we could have, Vooch open up. But as the slate stands right now, I do think Ant is one of my more favorite spend-ups on the slate, point per dollar. Joyce Randle at 8.2K, I would say is probably getting to the price point to where I think he should be, although I do think he'll be somewhat popular tomorrow, depending on, like I said, more spend ups opening up, more value opening up. There's just not a ton of value on this slate right now, but great spot. Another guy that can stuff the stat sheet, good scorer. Him, Ant kind of lead this team in usage. So, yeah, both the top two guys here look pretty damn good to me, and I even like Rudy Gobert quite a bit at 7K. His role, his minutes are a lot safer this year. I'm going to just chalk this game up as a complete outlier. I don't even think he got injured. Maybe he got injured, to be honest. I'm not entirely. My memories were really, really bad. No, okay, he played the fourth. But normally he's going to play mid 30s minutes. I think the spot up against Vooch is fine. Probably going to get you close to a double double. Of course, he can protect the rim, can rack up blocks. Super valuable, especially on like FanDuel, right? Still 7K. I think he's just super super safe. Going to play big minutes. So I'm pretty high on all the top three guys here, and I think the value. I think these Minnesota guys, as the slate stands right now, like if we get Levine in, I think these Minnesota guys are probably the better value plays on the slate. Like I said, Mike Conley at 4.6 should play low 20s minutes. Another guy that can stuff the stat sheet. I think he's solid for value. Dante, like I said, I wouldn't play Conley and Dante together. They kind of negatively correlate, but another guy, he's running some backup point. Another guy that's going to chuck when he's out there as well. Although shot volume has been a little bit down this year compared to when he was on the Knicks. Of course, he's playing with higher usage guys like Randall, Anthony Edwards, Naz Reid. But, can stuff the stat sheet. I think he's very, very safe. Has that good game here, good game in a blowout. Been a little bit up and down this year, but 4.9K I think is reasonable. So, like Dante, like Mike Conley, Naz Reid at 5.6K should play low to mid 20s minutes. A phenomenal point per minute guy. 5.6K, I think he's reasonable. I think the other two look a little bit better point per dollar, but of course I would have Naz Reid straight up. So, like Naz, like Dante, like Mike Conley, I think McDaniels is a good value as the slate stands right now. I'm going to keep saying it. As the slate stands right now, should play around 30 minutes. They need him out there for defense. Not going to do a ton, but, with the sheer amount of minutes he should play, does make him firmly in play as a solid value on the slate. Nickeil Alexander-Walker at 3.9 should play around low 20s minutes. I don't mind him for value. He's playable if you're going more stars and scrubs type builds. Minnesota looks pretty damn solid to me tomorrow. Moving on to Chicago, really tough spot here for Chicago. It's going to depend on Zach LaVine. So if LaVine is in, that's going to really kill Ayo Dosunmu. I'd have a tough time going to Ayo at that price point. Paul at 4.8 would still be a fair value. It would take THT out of play for me. I wouldn't even consider like Dalen, Terry, etc. And then, the usage for the main guy is going to drop, and now they're starting to get priced up for LaVine being out. So Chicago would be a tough sell for me tomorrow with LaVine in. I guess my favorite would be Zach LaVine, assuming he's not on a limit. He's the cheapest. He should be the second most expensive on this team. So assuming no limit, I think LaVine is good just because he's definitely too cheap. If LaVine's out, we know what to do. Like, Ayo at 5.3 would still be too cheap at this price point. Had a really bad game tonight, but should play massive minutes. Can stuff the stat sheet. Another guy that's going to chuck when he's out there, so really like Ayo. Patrick Williams would be a solid value of 4.8K. I don't care what happened tonight. All these guys would be great plays once again. Kobe White, Josh Giddey, Nikola Vucevic. Now, not smashes like they were 2 slates ago when they were like 6,800 and 6,900 respectively, but still really solid point per dollar plays at their price points. And then Nikola Vucevic at 8.5, he'd probably be my favorite considering the price points. He gets a huge bump with LaVine off the court. So Chicago would look good with LaVine out. They wouldn't be nearly as good with LaVine in. Wouldn't really like much at all. If LaVine's in, it would mainly just be Zach LaVine himself, assuming he's not on a limit. I don't think Portland's been on a main slate yet this year because they've been chopping off the late games. If Shaedon Sharp's in, that's going to kill, the guards. It's going to hurt the guards decent amount, like Simon, Scoot Henderson. I'd imagine Shaedon Sharp would be on some type of limit as well. But let's just assume Shaedon Sharp's out for now. We can take a look at the rotation. Let's go over it together. Here's Portland, Toumani Camara, Denny, Ayton, Simons, Grant starters. And then you're mainly going to see like Scoot Henderson off the bench, and that's mainly it. And then Klingon will get the backup 5. So a value I'm very, very high on tomorrow. It's a really, really tough matchup here for DeAndre Ayton. I like Klingon quite a bit as a value play tomorrow. I don't think anyone's going to play him. I think the foul trouble risk for Ayton is pretty high here going up against Victor Wembanyama. Klingon is going to be the guy to benefit from that. Not a bad point per minute guy either. So I think a sneaky value play that I do like quite a bit tomorrow is Klingon. DeAndre Ayton at 7.2K, pretty tough spot for him, but been a monster this year. Has double upside. I think he's fine. I think I'd rather spend up for like a what other centers? You have Randall right there for $1,000. Vooch, Rudy Gobert for somewhat. I think I prefer Rudy Gobert to DeAndre Ayton, but it's close. What else do we have here? Simons, Grant, they're going to dominate the usage. Denny, I would say at 6.3K is kind of more priced right for me. His potential has been a lot down this year compared to when it was on Washington. Should play around 30 minutes. Kind of a reasonable play for me. I think if I were playing anyone, I think I'd prefer getting to like Jeremy Grant, who should play massive minutes. Portland really likes to run Jeremy Grant into the ground. Really low floor on Jeremy Grant, but when he's hitting his shots, he has an insane ceiling. So like, don't mind me some Jeremy Grant there. I think Simons is in play. More of a GPP play for me at 7.5K, but he's going to lead this team in usage. Another shot guy's going to chuck when he's out there. And I think Kamara at 5.1. I wish he was cheaper, but he's playable for value. Another guy playing massive minutes right now. And then, yeah, I do like Klingon for value. No standout plays in this team, but definitely some playable plays like Simons, Jeremy Grant, Kamara, Klingon. I think Klingon, honestly, might be my favorite play on this team just because I don't think anyone's going to play him tomorrow. And I think the foul trouble risk with Aiden is the risk is definitely there. Sochan going to be out. Devin Vassell going to be out. Trey Jones going to continue to be out. They started Castle in place of Sochan. So they went Victor Wembanyama, Chris Paul, Champagnie, Harrison Barnes, and Castle. So Castle at 4.4 should play 25 to 30 minutes. Not going to be the best producer when he's out there, but he is 4.4K. I do think he stands out as a solid value as the slate stands right now. Julian Champagnie gets a decent bump. I like him quite a bit at 5K. I think he's a solid point per dollar play. Keldon Johnson gets a bump off the bench. Interest in GPPs. Like if everyone's going to play like Champagnie over like a Keldon, I know they're not the same price point, so you can't really compare. I think Keldon would be an interesting pivot. Just going to lead the team in usage off the bench. So, of course, when Wemby's not out there. But so I don't mind Keldon. I think he's an interesting GPP play. And then, really like Wemby as a spend up. I think he's one of the better spend ups on the board. And then Chris Paul's offensive role this year has been a lot different with the guards out. No Vassell, of course, and now Sochan out. Chris Paul is going to have to do a lot more offensively. We know he's a statue stuffer, so it really raises his floor plus ceiling. I wish he was still at that like 6.2K range, or I'd really like him, but of course, still in play for me. I think it's great spot. Yeah, I think Champagnie's good. Prefer him to Harrison Barnes, and then Castle is solid value, and then you get more run for like Branham as well with these guys out. Can they play? I'm so tired. All right, Markin and Clarkson, they went through shoot around, so if I had to guess, they would be in. I would assume not on limit. We shall see though. But with them in, and everyone priced up, it's kind of the same thing for like Chicago. Like you have John Collins at 6.5, he would be probably out of play for me at that price point if Markkanen plays. Keontae George would probably be my favorite play at 6.4. Sexton, Clarkson, they'll kind of split the guard duties. I'd prefer Clarkson to Sexton just because he's cheaper. Walker Kessler's a guy I do like at 6.1K. He's just minutes a lot more secure this year. Good shot blocker. 6.1K, he's over fantasy point per minute guys. So you give him around 30 minutes, he's going to project decent. So I still do like me some Walker Kessler, even if Markkanen plays. Filipowski would go back to the bench, and then Cody Williams has been starting. Not a good point per minute guy, but he is playable. And then if we get both out, then yeah, I think these guys look great. I think Walker Kessler, he gets a slight bump, still looks pretty damn good to me. Keontae George, I would really like. Excuse me. Great spot going up against the Bucks. I think he's a good play regardless if they play or not. But really like Keontae George. I would really like Sexton. I think Filipowski would be solid value. Cody Williams firmly in play. Drew Eubanks is fine. Forgot to go over the rotation as well. Let's pull that up last game. John Collins playing a ton of minutes off the bench. They're dusting off Johnny Juzang. Pretty disgusting. Patty Mills. Like, what are we doing? But the main starters are the guys that I have interest in here the most. Mainly, Sexton, Keontae George. Really like those guys in a fantastic spot going up against the Bucks. Walker Kessler, etc. Cody Williams, fine value. Drew Eubanks is playable. And then if they're both out, you could fire up like a Juzang and large field GPPs. I think it's fine. Moving on to the Bucks, so it all depends on Giannis. If Giannis is in, he's the best spend up on the board in a fantastic spot. He would look phenomenal. Damian Lillard at 9.5, even at this price point with Giannis in, great spot would still like. Bobby Portis would be priced right. He'd get a downgrade. I do still like Brook Lopez, even if Giannis plays, playing massive minutes right now in a really good spot And then Prince, Gary Trent are fine. But they got benched last game. They closed with AJ Green and Andre Jackson. Now, if Giannis is out, we know what to do. Dame looks phenomenal. Bobby Portis looks phenomenal. Brook Lopez, I really like. If you can stomach it, you could go back to like a Gary Trent or Torian Prince. I don't know if last game was a complete outlier, but they like I can just show you they closed with AJ Green and Andre Jackson, and they weren't in foul trouble. Torian Prince picked up 2 quick ones. That's why AJ Green came in early, and then they kind of stayed out of foul trouble. And then yeah, they went with AJ Green, Andre Jackson. So if they're gonna go with a hot hand, I don't even know if it was a hot hand situation. I know Andre had a good game, but yeah, Pat Connaughton is in play regardless at 3.4K, assuming Giannis does not play. And then yeah, it's tough to say. If you like Trent Prince, they'll probably be low owned because the last game, but yeah, Green Jackson don't really know what that was about, but yeah, if they're gonna be like chalk tomorrow, if Giannis is out, I don't want anything to do with them. So yeah, wish I had better answers for those shitters there, but hopefully you guys had a great night, and I will, as always, talk to you all in the next video.